Hey guys, welcome back. While my 991 is getting its 100,000 mile service at Porsche of Minneapolis, they've kindly given me this beautiful 2021 Cayenne as a loaner. And what else do I have to do on a Saturday afternoon while the kids are napping and the wife's watching TV? It's time to play around in the garage. Let's go check it out. So if you've been watching my channel for a couple of years, you'll know that I used to have a 2011 Cayenne, the base, and this is the 2021. And I've got to say, in the 10 years since my 958.1 was released, this Cayenne has come a long way. I think this is finally the SUV that Porsche fans deserve. It is sleek, it's refined, it's more powerful, it's luxurious, it's everything you would want in an SUV. It even has all of the off-road settings that the likes of the Jeep Grand Cherokees and the Durangos out there, they have. The sand, the mud, the snow, the rock. It's not just an all-wheel drive vehicle. It's the perfect combination between off-road and sports car. Now we're gonna take a look at the interior first, and then we're gonna go out and take it for a spin on the road. This base model starts at around 67,000 US. This one is actually optioned with a few goodies, and it's going for 82,000 at Porsche Minneapolis. Unlike the previous generations, there is the base, the S, the GTS, the E-Hybrid, and of course the Turbo, which is the ultimate trim. But this time round, they've also just recently released the Coupe version, which looks like a slightly squashed in at the back, more sporty version, and that is also available in the base, the S, the GTS, the E-Hybrid, and the Turbo. Now, this one is more powerful and more refined than my one was, the 2011. It still has the Tiptronic transmission, 8-speed, but it is super, super smooth. It has 335-ish horses, I think, and equal amount of torque. And that is more than enough to allow you to drive this thing without worrying for extra power, even in the base. It does 0 to 60 in around 5 seconds, which isn't, super exciting, but it certainly feels fast enough when you drive it. And then if you go up to the GTS or the Turbo models, you can bring that down to the sort of sub 4 second mark with 400 plus horsepower. If you want to spend over $100,000 on a luxury SUV, I think this one's the perfect kind of blend. It's part SUV, it's part sports car, it's got enough power with the V6 turbocharged engine. So let's go check out the interior and then let's go take it for a spin. So here we are in the interior. Now, while you'd expect to see a luxury SUV looking absolutely dope and clean on the outside, the luxury is what's inside. It's the feeling that you get from sitting in the seats and holding the steering wheel and the driving experience inside the cabin, which is the difference between a regular SUV and a luxury SUV, in my opinion. And as you look in this interior, it is nothing short of luxurious. Beautiful leather steering wheel, the classic modern Porsche steering wheel that you'd find in any of the 911s. Beautiful supple leather. The chairs are really nice and big and comfortable. You've got lots of leg room. Guy like me, 6'6", 6'7", loads of leg room. Even with the chair not all the way back, enough space in the cabin. The one thing that I'm not entirely sure I like with these newer Porsches are the big touchscreen interfaces. Sure, they look really bling, they look really impressive when you turn them on, but because of the touchscreen surface, all you see are fingerprints everywhere. And for an OCD freak like me, even though I'm not particularly far along in the spectrum, it's kind of enough to set my nerves going. And the same goes for the buttons. Now, while there is technology in here to give you some sort of feedback as you press the buttons, it's still not the same. as the feel of an analog button, even though it's powering digital mechanisms. The physical button and the sort of user experience, if you will, has just gone a little bit too sci-fi for my liking. But it's not to say it doesn't look amazing, because it really does. And then you've got all of the usual storage and USB cables that you'd expect inside a luxury vehicle these days. And the passenger on the other side is going to be super comfortable as well. Let's take a look at the back. No, I'm not trying to get into that. Would I like to be in these back seats as a full-size, well, let's face it, oversized human being? No. Could my kids fit in the back of here? Yeah. For the average family with your average sized kids, this is the perfect car for you. Okay, now let's take a look in the trunk, or the boot, depending on which side of the pond you're on. The trunk space isn't actually too bad. You know, everything that a YouTuber like me might want, I can put in a few suitcases, I can put in my drone, you know, and so on, and bags. You can probably get 2 or 3 full-size adult suitcases in here. Could you fit a body in it? Probably. All right, let's get this show on the road. Okay, which way's reverse? All the way forward. Whoop. Wheels aren't straight. Well, it's good to know the parking sensors in the rear camera work. All right. Close the garage. Garage door closed. So, initial reactions just getting in this car. Even though it's the base, and even though it doesn't have the full leather interior, it's gorgeous. It is so gorgeous. I do have a leather steering wheel. The center armrest feels leather. There's leather on the doors, so it's the sort of part leather interior. The seats, you know what they have. You know that I'm excited for. It's the air-cooled seats. And you might think I'm crazy going out in shorts and flip-flops in -20 Fahrenheit sort of weather. I mean, Celsius, I guess. It's just below 0 Fahrenheit. But I'm also going to put on the bum cooler. That's just how I roll. So $82,000 is what this one's going for at Porsche Minneapolis. It's optioned pretty nicely. Now, let's start with the negatives. It doesn't have sports chrono, although it does have the lovely clock sat where the sports chrono should be. It doesn't have the Porsche sports exhaust, but it does have all the off-road capabilities that you'd hope and expect. So I'm gonna just look here at the car and the drive. Right now I'm in normal. I'm gonna kick it into sport. Now in my 911, when I put it in sports mode, you get that instant gratification of just hearing the gear shift and the engine rev, and you know that it's ready for business. When I push the sports button here on this baby, I didn't notice any difference, unfortunately. In the low gears, first, second, third gear here, okay, I can notice just a little bit more throttle, maybe a little bit more power, but it's not, you know, again, but it's not 911, I suppose. But I'm in sports mode. It also has all of the off-road functions. So it has gravel, mud, sand, and rocks, which the older generations of Cayenne didn't have. You were either in off-road mode or you were on the road. And now they've sort of kicked it up to Land Rover, Range Rover, and Jeep Grand Cherokee sort of territory, giving you that more diverse set of off-road capabilities. Now let's give it a bit of shovel. I mean, you can't complain. That felt like 0 to 60 in a lot less than 5 seconds, but you know, I guess Porsche doesn't lie. So this is the 8-speed Tiptronic, and it is super smooth. It's like butter, as they say, silky smooth. Now, Tiptronic has had a bit of a bashing, certainly because of the sort of performance in the 996 generation. I had the Tiptronic in my first 996. You put your foot down and there was a little bit too much of a lag. Now this is the turbocharged engine, and the turbos are known to have a very, very, very minor lag. And with the Tiptronic, you know, I was expecting the same, but actually, okay, I put my foot down, there was still a little bit of a lag, but it was nothing like it was in my 996. So driving experience-wise, and I said earlier in the video, this really does feel like the perfect blend between SUV and sports car. You know, you feel the weight, you feel sort of this maybe innate safety from being in a car like this that has these capabilities, that sits on the road and holds it so well. But you also have that slightly dangerous feeling of a sports car when you kick it down a few gears in sports mode and you let it rip. Like, oh! Like now, there's a copper on my right and there are two cars in front of me. So I'm not going to be ripping. Hello, Mr. Policeman. It's the local sheriff. You don't want to mess with the sheriffs. But it's beautiful. It really is a nice car to drive. Now, let's go back to options. So it doesn't have the sports chrono and it doesn't have the Porsche Sportster exhaust, but it has the beautiful leather seats, heated seats, cooled seats. It has the heated steering wheel, multi-function display, and it has the upgraded sound system. And is that worth the 14 or 15 grand? Well, maybe not, but you do have the off-road functionality as well. So it's got the lighting package, window trim in high gloss. It's got the trailer package. It's got the 21-inch rims, the exclusive design rims, which are a 4 grand in itself. So the majority of the options have gone into the premium package, which is about 6 grand, which gives you the communications, the ambient lighting, the you know, all of the sort of creature comforts, the heat and the cooled seats, and then another 4 grand on the exclusive wheels. So that's 10. And then the other stuff in change, the high gloss black trim, this, that, and the other. I guess that makes sense, and it takes it up to 14. All right, let's rip it. It's great. It's really powerful. The one thing I think I miss is the Porsche Sports exhaust. You just don't get that sort of feedback. I mean, okay, it's the turbocharged engine, but the turbocharged 992 I drove a few weeks ago, which was the S model, that still had a lot of feedback. They've probably done something to the cabin to, you know, continue to improve the comfort. They've improved the sound cancellation. You know, it's probably better insulated. But I do miss that sort of instant feedback and gratification that I get in my 911. And actually from my other base Cayenne, I could hear more of the engine and the exhaust in the cabin. And although this is the daily driver, although this is the family car, I still kind of want that because I'm buying a Porsche for a reason. I want the power, I want the exhilaration of the drive. So I'm getting the Porsche driving experience, but I feel like I'm being a little shortchanged on the sound. But that's okay, it is what it is. So that's it for this video. This has been my Cayenne review. I'm going to be picking up my 991 on Monday, hopefully. The 100,000 mile service seems to have gone okay. We're going to talk about what's included in that with the guys down there at the dealership, and we'll go through the pricing. I know a lot of people have asked about that. I've also found a couple of surprises that I wasn't expecting, and that's also going to make for some interesting TV, I think, or some interesting YouTubing. So watch this space. 991 video coming next week. My podcast recently, another episode dropped this Friday. That's a couple of Fridays in a row now. I think that's going to be my new regular time slot for dropping podcasts right before the weekend. Andy from The Last Rasp, he joined me, and I've listened to that thing myself like 2 or 3 times. It was hilarious. Absolutely fantastic banter with Andy. And then exclusive Porsche Chat Live streaming on the Auto Amateur YouTube channel in a couple of weeks' time. Saturday, 20th of Feb. Myself, the one and only Lee Sibley from Total 911 magazine, and he is that 911 guy on YouTube. You probably know him well if you're following my channel and you know anything about Porsche. Myself and Lee, Andy from Last Rasp, and Jay from the Jay Reed channel, the 4 of us are going to be doing a live chat with live Q&A. So come along, ask us questions. There'll be the usual sort of Porsche related banter, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So join us for that. And then for now, I'm going back home to play in my garage for another couple of hours before the kids get up. Hope you're well and staying healthy. I'll see you in another video soon. Take care. Bye.